Hey everybody, so it's time for me to wrap up my January reading. I had a very good reading month in January. I read some fantastic books that I cannot wait to tell you all about. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, and I hope you're safe in reading an amazing book or two or three or four. I have to say 2024 reading is starting off a little different for me. So I set myself a reading goal every year. Last year I set that goal at 100 and I really stressed out making that goal. I had some real bumps in the road last year. I had some periods where I was just not getting through anything. And by the end of the year, I was stressed that I wasn't going to meet my goal. I had to meet my goal. And I don't want that feeling this year. So I've lessened the goal and expectations on myself to read this year. And so I'm just reading as things come along and really enjoying them. And so I'm not like putting any sort of pressure on myself to read a certain amount of books per month. I'll read what I want to read and I'll get done what gets done. And that has really just opened me up to read some amazing books. And I am about to tell you about a whole stack. So you better get out your pen, your paper, your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore, or if you're a library user, get your copy as soon as possible. I am going to continue in 2024 to start these videos with the book that I would say was my favorite read. This is full of books that I thought were really, really excellent. So picking one is always difficult, but this one really did stand out for me. And that is Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. This is out from Knopf. I actually saw Kaveh in person at City Green Apple Books on the Park in San Francisco. He was in conversation with Tommy Orange. So I got to learn a little bit about his process. He was a poet originally. He has a couple poetry books out there, and this is his first novel, and it is a real piece of work. It is brilliant. So this is the story of Cyrus. Cyrus is a young man. He and his father moved from Iran to the United States after his mother was killed in a flight that was shot down by the U.S. military going from Iran to Dubai, I believe. And it's a real event that occurred in history. And so he and his father sort of leave Iran, come to the Midwest. His father works on a chicken farm, and once he gets into college, his dad is sort of done. He's done. Cyrus gets very much involved in alcohol and drugs and sort of makes a deal with God that if he gets this sign, he will sort of stop doing what he's doing and figure something out. This is just the sort of the beginning of the book. I've really given nothing away. So what the whole novel is about is Cyrus has decided to work on this idea of martyrdom, this idea of your death meaning something for others when you die. And he is collecting these stories, writing this book. We get excerpts of sort of his thought process throughout the novel. One of the things that occurs is that he is introduced to his friend about an artist in, I think, Boston or Brooklyn, who is at an art gallery. She's an Iranian performance artist who has been diagnosed with terminal cancer and is sort of, as her last artistic thing, is dying in this museum and talking to anyone who wants to come. And so he goes there to meet her, and he becomes infatuated sort of with the idea of her story and what she's doing, and as they talk. This book is a lot about conversation. Cyrus has dreams where very odd people will have discussions in his dreams about ideas or thoughts that he is struggling with in real life. It's about finding time for yourself and the relationships you build, and sometimes realizing later in life that you're ignoring something really good because you've become infatuated with something that may not get you where you want to go. It is about recovery. It is about sort of making those choices to see who you are. It's about loss. It's about becoming who you want to be. You will love it. The writing is beautiful. The idea is beautiful. It is next level debut novel. And that is Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, and this is out from Knopf. I could not recommend this book enough to you. As you all know, as I say, I always start my reading year every year with a new book. So I don't ever carry up over reading from 2023 into 2024 or any year like that. And so the first book I picked up this year was Welcome to the Hyunam-Dong Bookshop by Hwang Bo-Reum, translated by Shauna Tam, out from Bloomsbury. This book, it's just lovely. It's about a woman in Korea who gives up the sort of hustle and bustle of her office job. She leaves her husband and she opens a bookstore in this little town. And it's about the people that come in. It's about what the bookstore does for her, the relationship she builds there, the decisions that she's made to get there. It does sometimes go a little off track for me, and sort of we get backstory on some of the other peripheral characters that I didn't totally need, but I love just the charm of it, that sort of the loveliness of the importance of books and reading and community and what bookstores can really do and add to people's lives. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. So that's Welcome to the Hyunam-Dong Bookshop by Hwang Bo-Reum, translated from the Korean by Shannon Tam. Okay. This next book, I don't know how to describe it. All I can tell you is you will not be disappointed if you read Beautyland by Marie-Helene Bertino, out from FSG. This is out now. You can get your hands on it. I adored this book. So this is the story of a young woman. Her name is Adina. She's born to a single mom. And she believes at a certain age that she is sort of turned on and finds out that she is a alien from another world that's been placed on Earth to observe it and to communicate back to her home world about what is Earth all about. And she does this via fax machine, which I think is just brilliant in its own way, shape, and form. I love it. But what you wind up seeing here is Adina is an awkward young woman who is dealing with her place in society and who she's going to become, how to make friends, how to deal with her mom, how to deal with these feelings of inadequacy that she sort of feels as a person in the world. And in sort of communicating with her home world, she starts to sort of put things into place about herself and finds a way to articulate her feelings at the next level. She has relationships, she falls in love, she realizes some stuff about herself, and she just sort of struggles with that sort of the interpersonal part of being a person. And in the meantime, you get this idea of her reporting back. And at times she's like got these gaps in communication, and she starts to wonder if she's all alone again. And what does that mean for her? The book is so beautifully written. It is. And Adina is so real. She's a very real person. I think in her, you will find pieces of yourself many, many times over and over. And I just thought it was lovely. So that's Beautyland by Marie-Helene Bertino, out from FSG. And this came out in January. You can get your hands on it as we speak. Okay. My husband and I are continuing to read books together in 2024, but we decided to mix it up a little bit, and we're adding a little bit of fantasy in, and we were influenced by the TikTok book table at Borders, not Borders. You miss Borders. I miss Borders. Barnes & Noble. I love Barnes & Noble. Don't get me wrong. They're my local bookstore, to be honest. And so we picked up the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is out from Tor here in the US. This is a trilogy. I believe the third one just came out. Basically, we are in a world. It's sort of like an off-kilter of our universe, but there is magic. There is a sort of a library, an Alexandrian society that every 10 years collects the 6 most unique magicians, all have different powers, and they compete for 5 spots in the society. And so we meet each of these characters before they decide to become part of the society, and then they come together and you walk through how their relationships change, how their magic changes, and then you find out that not everything that they've been told is really the whole story. And there's much more to this society. People are trying to steal things from the society, and what that all means. And it's all about the interplay between them, the politics of the friendships, how do you kick who out, who gets to move forward, all of that. I loved it. I thought it was really good. It's a great audiobook. Each character has its own narrator. I was really entertained. I'm excited to see what happens next. So that's The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, out from Tor. Okay. I talked about these last two books in my first video of February about books by people, favorite authors that have new books out. So I will just do a brief run through here. The first is Come and Get It by Kiley Reid. She wrote Such a Fun Age. I love this book. This is a campus novel. It deals with money in all its shapes and forms. Also with race, with socioeconomic positioning. We have a group of women who live in a dorm together who are being observed by a visiting professor on the sly as she writes about them. Their dynamics between them as roommates. We have an RA who has come back to school after taking a year off to take care of her mother with a plan in place. And there are many other characters in this book. That would be my only thing. I think there was like one or two many characters in this book, but Kiley Reid writes dialogue. Like, you literally feel like you're in the room watching these people talk to each other. It is fantastic. You will be really, it's just so good. You are brought into this world, you're brought into these characters, you get involved in the drama, and you just can't stop turning the pages. So that's Come and Get It by Kiley Reid, out from Putnam. I want to thank them for that beautiful finished copy, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you all pick it up. Last but not least, I read Float Up, Sing Down by Laird Hunt. This is out from Bloomsbury. Again, thank them for this beautiful finished copy. Laird Hunt wrote Zori, which was a finalist for the National Book Award, and my favorite read of the year it came out. This is set in that same town that Zori was set in, but it's a collection of stories about the people that live in that town. Each story is from a different person's point of view, and it's just a quiet book about a town, and it is lovely. Like, the writing is just so poetic. These people have the complications of their lives are so relatable, so small town. How they deal with some of the things that sort of they're not ready for modern world at times, and how do they deal with those when it comes sort of crashing into this small town. It's about kids growing up, it's about people at the end of their lives, it's about loss, it's about family, and it is lovely, and I highly recommend it. So that's Float Up, Sing Down by Laird Hunt, out from Bloomsbury, and you can get your hands on it as we speak. So that is what I read in January. I hope that every single one of those books wound up on your TBR. They are fantastic. As always, if you're a return subscriber, thank you so much. I could not do this without you. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click subscribe and you click that little bell and do all of that stuff for me. I would appreciate it. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.